Hey, what up everyone, DREAGEN back again, here to tell you that you should be reading Jurassic Park. Now before I get this going, I just want to quickly point out, and maybe you guys might notice, you probably don't, a bit of an audio difference. I'm currently in between microphones right now, so I'm just using the camera audio, so if it sounds different, that's why. Probably don't care, but I'm one of those people who I pick up on every little detail and I notice things and then I start asking why is things like that, why is it like this? Well, in case you're one of those people, that's the reason why. So anyway, on with the show. So Jurassic Park is a 1990 novel written by the late Michael Crichton, and I'm sure most of you at least are familiar with Jurassic Park, if not for the movies themselves. The movies where I feel have kind of surpassed the books in terms of popularity. I mean, I know for the people who read the book and Lost World, I always a lot of people say the same thing, the book is better, and I am inclined to agree in certain aspects of it, but that's neither here nor there. But anyway, yes, it started off as a book. It is actually Steven Spielberg got the idea to start working on the film, the script for the film, the storyboarding and outlining it before the book was even released. And he was, talking with Michael Crichton, with this. They were friends, and he asked him what's new in the world of books. And Michael Crichton kind of gave him the rundown for this new dinosaur book he was working on, and Spielberg immediately got interested and into the idea and started wondering, hey, what would that look like on the big screen? And thus cinematic history was made. But back to where it began, the book, for those of you who are not as familiar with the whole story as a whole, like the film, it takes place on an island where the kind of a rich billionaire businessman, John Hammond, is creating a theme park with genetically engineered dinosaurs. He has cloned dinosaurs using kind of the remnants of DNA, which, yes, we now know that it doesn't work that way. DNA would not survive that long, but yada yada yada. Science fiction, let's go with it. And to create a park where people will come and see, the most amazing attractions in the world. Dinosaurs, and the film and the book are very similar in that regard. However, where they really start to differ, where the film focuses more on kind of the wonder of it, kind of the magical kind of aspect of this, dinosaurs alive again. And the character of John Hammond in the movie is this very sweet old man who essentially just wanted to bring childhood dreams to life, make our wildest dreams as children real. Whereas in the book, he's a very greedy, kind of evil businessman who's in it just for the money, just for profit, and if pushing that even further, is very open about pushing this park on the super rich, which is, again, runs very contrary to his character in the movie when he goes out and saying, this park is not only for the super rich. In the book, if he had his way, that's exactly who it would be for. So they bring a team of experts to the island to kind of check it out, to kind of, give them their seal of approval, so they get everyone to be like, see, the experts say it's safe, so on and so forth. And like the film, things go awry, the dinosaurs get loose and start eating people and, essentially ruining everyone's weekend. But now, thematically speaking, where the film kind of focused on the beauty and majesty of, these animals, the book is, interestingly enough, it's less about the dinosaurs, even though the dinosaurs are front and center, but it's more about kind of like, as Michael Crichton even said, kind of the dark side of Walt Disney. It's kind of, how something as beautiful and awe-inspiring as seeing a dinosaur, in the flesh in the modern age, a non-avian dinosaur, I should point out. We saw plenty of them flying around. How that can be kind of undermined and undercut and kind of sullied, if you will, through just kind of greed. Like I said, the book focuses more on like the corporate side of this, why they're using dinosaurs. It's a big, attraction, it's a big attention getter. You tell people, hey, we've got dinosaurs here. You can see them if you're willing to pay some money, and a lot of people will pay some money to go see some dinosaurs. But, along with that comes kind of the moral question, or, and this is, interestingly enough, something that was touched in The Lost World, and something that seems to be touched in the upcoming Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom film that we've seen just from the trailer thus far, is that by recreating an extinct organism, does it have the same kind of rights as existing animals? Like, you look at endangered species today, and if you go and shoot one, there are, penalties for that. Well, what's more endangered than a dinosaur, an animal that in theory could be one of a kind, depending on how many you clone? But do these rights extend to them? Because these are organisms that went extinct, not by, mankind, messing around with nature as we so often do, but went extinct millions of years before us through kind of the natural order of, evolution on this planet. So if we suddenly bring them back, well, the only reason why they're even here is because we brought them back. The world didn't ask for them back. Mother Nature didn't, bring them back. They're here artificially. So do they have rights? Or basically, are they kind of like free range? Can we then manipulate them, use them for whatever purposes we desire? And in the book, Dr. Wu even goes on saying, you want to make dinosaurs, but we can make them better. We can actually make the dinosaurs in our park more what people think dinosaurs are and less of what they actually were. We can make them more, compliant. We can make them nicer. We can make them scary. We can make better dinosaurs. And John Hammond, even in the book, wants to say, no, I want to give that's the gimmick. Authentic dinosaurs. We've created a lost world, a snapshot in time. These are the real dinosaurs. But already this idea of let's make them better. Let's make theme park monsters, not extinct animals. And it's this idea: is that okay? Can we do that? Is that allowed? And it's basically showing you kind of how, again, not to get too preachy, but kind of like greed and corporate interest getting involved with something that should be first and foremost a scientific breakthrough. The fact that we can resurrect an extinct organism and potentially even an extinct ecosystem, but instead seeing it and saying, not realize that we can bring something that once was back, but then turning it into something completely different, something that never was to begin with, which was something the first Jurassic World film did when they created the Indominus Rex, the first kind of man-made dinosaur, which is like, well, what is the point then? If it's not an existing species of dinosaur, well, it might as well not even be a dinosaur then. You can just make up your own kind of monster, if you will, and have it, be whatever, because it's no longer the novelty of this was an animal that was once extinct and now it's not. It's something that is just brand new. And again, this book kind of touches upon that. It's basically saying it's, how much of this is really about what this park is advertising. Basically, are they really selling what they're advertising, or is this basically kind of Pandora's box? It's the idea of like, okay, if we can play God, basically, if we can create life, bring organisms back, where does that stop? Who's to say what we can and cannot do with these organisms when we bring them back? Today we created dinosaurs just for posterity. Tomorrow, what do we do with these dinosaurs? Again, these aren't animals that have kind of come up with us side by side, so we kind of have a moral responsibility to not take advantage. We have to accept the fact that they're a part of the natural world. They've evolved along with us, and they have a place in this world that we need to respect. They have a place in this larger kind of planetary ecosystem that we have to have an appreciation for. Whereas dinosaurs, they've been out of the game for a long time. So again, they're only here because of us. So do we now have those same limitations? Do we now have these same roadblocks that prevent us from doing what we cannot do with another animal with them? And where does that go from there? Is the Jurassic Park in the book is essentially Pandora's box. It is the start of potentially a dark future where biotechnology will inherently change the world. It can rewrite our own existence. It can change how what we can and cannot do with the world, and basically our ability to influence, control, and change, and potentially ultimately destroy biological life as we know it on this planet. I know that sounds extremely heavy, but that's kind of the, what this book this book could have almost been viewed as a kind of an apocalyptic story if it didn't kind of end where it did. The idea of like, being able to, again, end extinction, that kind of power is the start of something new. We have kind of opened the door to a new landscape of, capability in terms of technology. Where does it end? Does it end? And so, with that, said, you read the book, and when you see a lot of the dinosaurs in the book, unlike, its perhaps more famous cinematic counterpart, when they were introduced dinosaurs on the big screen, the music would swell, it'd be this sweeping motion, or when you would see the T-Rex, it was this ominous build-up, before, the big payoff, and it'd be this big dramatic moment in film history, which, yes, I love as well. And you see these same kind of moments in the book, and there's no dramatic entrances, there's no, ominous setup. The animals are just kind of introduced as animals. When the first time you see a dinosaur, it's like, oh look, there's a dinosaur. It looks like you introduce the dinosaur the way you would, you see the brachiosaurs, the apatosaurs in the story, and it could be just like a herd of elephants. When you see the T-Rex and it feeds the goat, they don't have to come back, wait for the dark thunder and lightning storm to set the mood. Nope, they put the goat, the T-Rex comes out of the brush, eats the goat, there it is. There's no big moment. They're trying to show you that, when you strip away the mystique, these are still just animals, because it's not about seeing a dinosaur, it's about essentially the hands at work behind the dinosaurs. That's why you're seeing a dinosaur to begin with. That's really what the book is trying to make you focus on. It's not like, look, there's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's, why is there a Tyrannosaurus Rex there? We haven't had a Tyrannosaurus Rex in, to this point now, 66 million years. Why is one there now? The questions you need to be asking are, what's going on behind the scenes to make everything that we're seeing possible? So you're not really supposed to be focusing on the dinosaurs themselves. You're supposed to be kind of focusing on, again, the workshop that produced them, whereas the film kind of focuses more on and understandably so, because you're making a movie, it's a visual medium, therefore you put a dinosaur on screen, it's going to be a lot more captivating than if you just maybe read it on the page. So understandably, the film shifts the focus a bit more towards the wonder or even the fear of a dinosaur, as opposed to where the book is saying, yep, there's your dinosaur, yep, we made a dinosaur, that's cool, but let's get into more of the why we made the dinosaur. So that's really where kind of this book shines, and that's really what it's trying to focus more on. It's why we would do something like this to begin with. What are the real motives, and more importantly, what are the more far-reaching implications? Like, this is just the start of what exactly? What have we unlocked? What have we started here? What doors have we opened, and where will they lead? And once they're open, can we truly ever close them again? That's more what the book focuses on. Again, the movie touches on it definitely, but the book really leans heavily on these questions, and it's a much darker, kind of more pessimistic story than the movie. I think the movie still kind of focuses on has a bit more of a hopeful feel to it, whereas the book is basically saying that, by bringing back dinosaurs, we've essentially kind of turned humanity into kind of almost monsters. We are now, aberrations of the natural world, because instead of being just a part of the natural world, we now hold sway over it, unlike any species that has ever come before. We can now hold life and death in our hands, and thus humanity has become monstrous in and of itself. And the dinosaurs are essentially like, an act of God. Humanity is now the God. It controls life and death. There you go. We can bring back dinosaurs. What else can we do? So that's kind of the crux of this story. And there's still plenty of cool dinosaur stuff in the book. Curiously enough, not my favorite Jurassic film, but Jurassic Park 3 actually has a lot of the moments, the action beats in that film are taken from the book, the first book, the scene in the third film where the Spinosaurus following them in the water. That's actually in the book, the T-Rex following them in the water. So there's a lot of, if you're familiar with the movies, you might read this book and actually see a lot of sequences from Jurassic Park 3 that you might recognize. You know, the Pteranodon sequence where they're in the giant kind of like bird cage thing. That's from the first book as well. So okay, it's interesting to see how the filmmakers kind of mined components of the first novel and sprinkled them throughout the entire film franchise. And I'm curious to see if maybe they're going to do more of that with some of the more upcoming films. But anyway, Jurassic Park, what a lot of people consider Michael Crichton's masterpiece. Have you read it? If so, what did you think? If not, don't worry. As always, I will put links in the description section below where you can pick it up. Give it a read. Again, if you're familiar with the movies, never read the book, you know, read the book and come back and give me some of your thoughts. And tell me which one you liked better, because I've actually met some people who actually like the movie better, who feel that it was better to kind of lean more on the positive as opposed to the negative that the book did, and vice versa. I've had some people say no, they love the fact that the book is this darker, more bleak story. And one of the things I always heard as a kid too was like, oh, if the movie was like the book, it would have been rated R. But you know, which is probably another big reason why they wanted to make the movie a bit more happy and, you know, awe-inspiring, because, you know, they're probably going for a PG-13 rating, and, you know, dark and bleak and morbid, and seeing people like hold their guts in their hands doesn't really lend itself well to a PG-13 rating. So, you know, if you can always take it as like kind of two sides of the same coin. It's kind of two interpretations of a story idea, and because Crichton had not even released a book yet when he was talking to Spielberg about it, I kind of look at it that way. It's like, you know, here's this idea for a dinosaur story, and Crichton went one way with it, and Spielberg went another way. So you could almost kind of just view them as that, two different takes on the same idea. But anyway, check out the book, come back, let me know what you think, regardless if you like it better or worse. I'm always kind of curious to hear what people think who have never read the book, you know, who go back and do so, especially now since the Jurassic Park, the movie, is this iconic, you know, film, and it's so ingrained in pop culture and kind of, you know, our cinematic landscape as audience members. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!